So 5 ways of being a painting. Only 2 of them common. Reflecting on his childhood in Berlin at the turn of the century, Walter Benjamin wrote that he feared being exiled in things. He often felt trapped in objects that absorbed his being. No longer a boy, he was blue and white porcelain, the bright pigments of a watercolor set, a fluttering white curtain, or a soap bubble, floating through a room. Repeatedly, he lost himself. Benjamin did not only get enveloped in matter and trapped in objects. When looking at photographs and paintings, he often found himself displaced into the picture. Being a painting can make you strange, to yourself and to others. It's long been a means of exploring who we are and how we differ. Being a painting gives you an existence in both the inverted world and the familiar. It displaces you through alienation and renewed attention. It can be used to reveal one person from another, one culture from another, but it also has other functions that draw on the almost occult power of what Benjamin called opaque resemblance. At dusk, on the dock of La Rochelle, 2 objects draw me in: a stack of lumber and a pile of goods unloaded from an absent ship. Men are cutting rough planks out of tree trunks. They stack the planks in a large square pattern that reaches twice their own height. On every other level of the stack, 1 plank protrudes. Together, these protruding ends make up a stairway spiraling around the pile, allowing the men to place a portable metal roof on top each night. The evening light falling on the men is too good. It's light that does not really exist until we call it crepuscular and sublime and idealize it in a painting. Closer to the water, next to an empty ship berth, goods are stacked, waiting to be moved to a warehouse. There are 6 large white sacks that would look sublime in their plainness if it were not for the number 31 drawn on the side of one of them. These sacks and the sawyers in La Rochelle are the objects in a painting by Claude-Joseph Vernet, completed in 1762 and displayed at the Paris Salon of 1763. Although it's too small to see in most reproductions of this painting of the port, a large Chinese character is written on the side of one of the sacks. Berlin Childhood, around 1900, is one of Benjamin's small masterpieces. It grew out of notes that he took in the early 1930s when he began to fear that he would have to flee into exile in the near future. The notes became a manuscript that he took with him when he left Germany for the last time in 1933. In his written account of the Paris Salon of 1767, which effectively inaugurated modern art criticism, Denis Diderot flirted with absorption while describing Vernet's painting of La Rochelle. He showed readers a way to get lost in Vernet's work. If one were to view the painting through a looking glass, taking in most of the image while avoiding the borders, one could easily forget that it was a view of a painting. Lou Bolin says that he first painted himself into a landscape in 2005, when the Chinese government demolished an artist colony in which he worked. He painted himself to resemble the background scenery with the help of assistants, and had them photograph him in front of the wreckage. Many of his works have an overt political message. They are acts of political estrangement and political commentary, but they are also a special type of present absence. Through a blend of painting and photography, the absence of the artist colony is unconcealed by the presence of the camouflaged Bolin. So we are made to see things hiding. The bourgeois home of Benjamin's childhood was full of knickknacks and decorative objects. His favorite object to get lost in was the Chinese porcelain. It was only of export quality, thick and clumsy, but he liked the colors and the textures of the modeled surface. In the early draft of Berlin Childhood, where he mentions this, Benjamin also tells the story of a Chinese painter inviting friends over to his house to view his newest painting. Letting themselves into the house, the friends cannot find the painting, though they see the cannot find the painter, though they see the painting. It depicts a stream and a path running through a park toward a tree-shrouded cottage. They find the painter walking along the path to the cottage, turning and smiling, waving at them before disappearing into a doorway. Diderot was the first European writer to make walking into a painting a form of art criticism. He first attempted a pictorial promenade in his account of the Salon of 1767. Only after many pages of recounting his long walk in the countryside with a priest and 2 students did Diderot reveal that the entire journey, including the picnic of wine and pâté, was imaginary. The series of paintings that he and his companions walked through were all by Vernet. The first Lubolin image I saw was a photograph of the stadium in Beijing, built for the 2008 Olympics. Camouflaged in the twisted shell of the bird's nest, Bolin stood painted not far from the camera, hiding in plain sight. As children, my sister and I were photographed in front of many painted backdrops. Or more accurately, we were photographed in front of many reproductions of photographs of paintings. My mother regularly took us to a photo studio for portraits. Now, as an adult, I can displace myself into Vernet's picture of La Rochelle more easily than I can into the pictures of my childhood. And I think that's the good place to end this portion.
Congratulations.
So there is, I as well would have really liked the opportunity to have met Tom Kramer here, and I realize I didn't get the chance to thank him before I started reading, but it's really something pretty amazing that he's started here and will live on. So. Thank you.